The Downtown Happenings podcast is brought to you by Sustainable HR PEO and Colath CPA, a local professional service firm supporting Madison businesses and nonprofits just like DMI with their various back-of-office needs. The firm aims to provide high-quality professional services and be true business partners to small and mid-market employers. If you're interested in accounting, tax advisory, HR, payroll, and benefits administration, Sustainable HR PEO and Colath are local providers who are committed to serving Madison and the downtown community. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Downtown Madison Happenings podcast. I'm Jason Ilster, president of Downtown Madison, Inc. We're excited to welcome Hilary Pham today. Here, she is the CEO and founder of Equability, a fantastic fashion company trying to ensure everyone in our community has the fashion they want. Hilary, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, trying to stay warm.
Fall has come in earnest very quickly. We were just talking in the pre-show about how we're both bike commuters, and now, I'm wearing these gloves every single day. Winter is on its way. Are you excited about winter?
I'm excited to ice skate and ski, and I don't need anything else.
You just want the fun parts of winter. That's a totally fair statement. But it sounds like you enjoy winter, though, because some people just like to read a book and sit by the fire and drink hot toddies all winter, but you like to get out and about?
I need to see the sun in as few of hours that I'll take. So yes, I'll be out and about.
Perfect. Well, we're here today to talk about Equability, a company that you started and is doing amazing things. So tell us the story of Equability. What's the inspiration behind it? And what was the gap in the clothing and the fashion industry that you were looking to solve with what you're doing? So please tell us the story and why we got here.
Sure. So this started way back in January 2020. I was home for the holidays. So it was me, my two sisters, my mom, we were at home. I remember we were going out to dinner, and my sister and I were standing there by the door going, "Where's mom? Why is she taking so long?" And so my mom was diagnosed with arthritis and carpal tunnel about 10 years earlier. What we realized was she was struggling with the buttons. She was struggling with the zipper of jeans. She was struggling to get her coat zipper attached. And she, of course, is too independent to say it to us. So it really took me noticing kind of like, my mom is taking a lot longer. What can we do? So my sisters and I actually tried buying adaptive clothes, and adaptive clothes are just items of clothing made for people with disabilities. So actually companies like Tommy Hilfiger, they have Tommy Adaptive, which sells button-down shirts with magnets embedded in them. They sell jeans with a higher waistband for people who sit in wheelchairs. So there are adaptive clothing options available. My mom is such a picky person. Like, she wears the exact same outfit every single day. She shops at 2 stores, maybe. She has her favorite pair of jeans that she's worn for like 10 plus years. And so we bought her an adaptive shirt with magnets embedded, and we were like, "Mom, isn't this cool?" And she was like, "I hate the fit. I hate the style. I hate the fabric. I don't want to wear this." I'm pretty sure she tried it on one time and never wore it ever again. And so very quickly, I kind of looked around and I went, okay, what can I do for people who want to keep wearing their clothes or want to keep shopping at the stores that they're really comfortable with? What can I do for them? And very quickly, I realized there wasn't really a solution available. So what I've been trying to do with Equability, we don't make any new clothes at all. What I wanted is a service for people to send us their clothes. So you can send us your favorite pair of jeans. You can buy something from Gap, send it to us. We don't really care. We will take your clothes and adapt them to fit your needs. So replacing the closure of a button-down shirt with magnets, Velcro snaps, removing the fly of jeans and doing snap buttons or Velcro. Very recently, we actually just figured out how to remove the old zipper off of jackets and replace it with one with magnets at the bottom. So you can even do it with one hand. It just snaps together and then you zip it up like normal. So really trying to make sure the clothes look exactly the same, but they're adapted to help each person.
The whole idea is centered in inclusivity. Why is it important to have this inclusivity and accessibility for everyone in the fashion industry? You talk about your mom, she wanted a certain style, and everyone should be able to have that style, right? Why is that so important to you? Why is that the center of the work that you do?
Absolutely. I think something about fashion that I've always enjoyed, I think it's a good way to build up your self-esteem. I think it's a great way to show kind of your personality, if you like bright colors, if you like certain styles, if you want to be trendy. And I think for a lot of people who struggle with clothes, who struggle with dexterity, clothes are the opposite of that. They're a barrier. So there are a lot of people, I've talked to people who almost they avoid professional settings, for example. So when they're at work, if there's a happy hour after work, they don't want to go because that means they have to put on a button-down shirt. They can't really do that on their own. It makes them feel worse about themselves. So I think I was really drawn to that because clothes are such a positive impact for me. I kind of wanted that to be the same for other people. And you should be able to do that. And so, for example, I was talking to a girl who uses a wheelchair when I was an undergrad, and she was like, I want to wear the cute button-down shirt dress from Zara that everyone else is wearing this spring. And I kind of went, yeah, you should be able to. So I think just giving people options, making sure that they feel included, making sure that clothes are a positive thing in their life versus a negative, I think I was really drawn to that mission.
Well, and a lot of times at work, you're required to wear a uniform or a certain kind of clothing. And if that is not adaptable, that can be certainly a barrier, right? To employment, to, activities in life. Clothing really is important, isn't it? And for the basis of who we are.
Exactly. And it's funny, you talk about uniforms. I've worked with veterans who are amputees who've lost dexterity, who have a stroke, and they can't really button on their own. And so this uniform that they have to put on that they're really proud of suddenly is more of a physical barrier to them. So I think there's an other emotional part to that too. Yeah, so I think people should be able to wear whatever they want when they want to. And that's why we started.
Walk us through this process. How do you adapt the clothing from the current style or the uniform or whatever the clothing is into a garment that is adaptable and works for that individual?
Absolutely. So to place standardized orders, you just go on our website, you choose the shirt option, you choose magnets, how many, if you want all the buttons done, or if you want the top one undone, so you can wear it more casually, those kinds of details. Um, Once you place the order, I send you a shipping label. You mail us your clothes. It takes us about 7 to 10 days to do the actual adaptations themselves, and then I mail it back to you. So our goal is to have your clothes back to you in 3 weeks, depending on shipping, of course. And for people who are local, access to our service is something that I'm always thinking about. So for people local to the Madison area, I've partnered with Common Threads Friendly Resource Center on the east side. They do OTPT work, and they have an office. So if you go on our website, place an order, but choose drop off, you don't have to pay for the shipping. And instead, you will go to Common Threads, drop it off during their office hours. I will go pick it up and then just drop it off there at their office when it's ready. So kind of trying to do a number of different options for people. But 3 weeks is our goal.
You're working, doing a lot, helping a lot of people. What have been some of the biggest challenges for Equability, and how have you overcome those challenges while you started this business?
Absolutely. I think the main thing that I've realized is trust is such a big thing, which makes sense. Do you feel comfortable sending your favorite pair of jeans to some online company you've never heard of? I think that's been a really big barrier for us. And so what I've been trying to do is partner with disability influencers. And so it's a lot of Paralympic athletes, just people who post about clothes, and show like how they adapt things. Regularly, we've tried to partner with them, adapt their clothes for them, and so they'll post a video of actually wearing the clothes, and their experience sending us their clothes. So I think that has really helped. But also, I do a lot of in-person events, or I'm meeting a lot with like OTs and PTs at rehabilitation centers to kind of show them in person what they look like. And then hopefully that will trickle down to their referring their patients to actually use that along with like the Amazon shoehorn and some of the other tools that they have available as well. So a combination of in-person slash online ways to kind of bridge that gap in trust.
What you told that story of your mother, how she helped really start the company. Do you have another personal story of someone else with you have changed their clothing and adapted their clothing and what that's meant for them?
Absolutely. I think we've had someone on the east side actually. So we met up like at a coffee shop where he sits in a wheelchair all day. And the way that he's able to drive and be really independent, he wears a belt around his midsection. And so what we did was this was more of a custom order. We took a bunch of his shirts, and so it's 5 inches down from where the armpit starts. He wanted a 2 inch opening. And so we just opened the seam, closed it to make sure it went fray. And then he's able to thread his seatbelt through. So it doesn't tent up his shirt. He doesn't feel like it makes him stand out. It like blends into his outfit and blends into his clothes. So um I think he was really happy that it wasn't obvious. Like it used to be really uncomfortable, especially for him sitting, that it would puff up his shirt, or like make him stand out in public when he just wants to look like he's wearing a normal shirt. So I think that was really important, and listening to him kind of explain his exact needs and what he's figured out in the past that works with him and makes him feel comfortable, has been really, really transformative, and kind of how I've approached things too.
You have to have you and your team have to have very strong tailoring skills. I mean, you're individually tailoring the items or changing or modifying or adding to the item, the clothing item, in a significant way. I mean, you have to have you all have a lot of training, don't you, to make this happen?
Actually, I think what we've focused on, we mostly just focus on changing the functional features of clothes. So focusing on seams, focusing on buttons and zippers. Um, we get asked a lot. So, for example, I worked with some parents in Gigi's Playhouse, the Children's Association for People with Down Syndrome, where they said, "Hey, we do need tailoring of like dropping the shoulders, maybe, or like shortening some shirts." And I was like, "Your local tailor can do that totally fine. They can measure you. They know how to do that." So yeah, our approach is more focusing on the functional features of the clothes. So making sure that they can zip things, they can open things, they can put things on, they can slide their like feeding tubes through without it being so obvious.
You talked about how other companies, Tommy Hilfiger in particular, are creating, have adaptive clothing. I think the number is 26% of Americans have some sort of disability in our country. So there's obviously a significant market. What do you think that future of adaptive clothing is, so that everyone can enjoy the freedom that they want with their clothing?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I stumbled upon this industry. The adaptive clothing market this year was worth $300 billion globally. The US makes up about 50 billion of that. So it's a huge market. There are 15% of the global population has a disability of some sort, and that's a pretty high bar because it's meeting um, disability standard. So there are people who like have arthritis who are not disabled, but they do struggle with dexterity. So I think as we're all getting older, like we're all getting older, we're all going to be old for a while. We're all going to want to look good when we're older too. We want to keep dressing ourselves. So I think in the context of we are all at some point going to struggle with these things, I think that's a very helpful context. It makes me really happy to see all the companies that are popping up. So yes, Tommy Hilfiger, J.C. Penney came out with a line of adaptive clothes where, yeah, they have like magnets embedded and stuff. Target came out with Cat and Jack a couple of years ago, where for like kids with autism or who have sensory disorders, they have like flat seams. They use different fabrics. So I think, yeah, it's amazing that companies are realizing that this is a need, that people actually want these products. I think it's still it's still like 10 to 15 shirts versus like the 50 that everyone else gets a shot from. So of course there are big gaps left in the market. I think that's where we come in, where we're like, okay, for companies who are really struggling to R&D their own adaptive clothing line, maybe we can help in that way. But no, it's been really, really exciting to see the strides that this industry has made, especially in the last 5 to 10 years.
How can the DMI community, the downtown community, the Madison community in general, get engaged with the work at Equability to help make sure more people here, to help grow so that more and more people can use your really important services?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I think I think understanding the role that clothes plays within workplace cultures, I think that's super important. So I know a lot of people in DMI work in office buildings, have professional events. So maybe being mindful of like, hey, maybe we can have a casually dressed happy hour this week. Maybe we can do that. Um, I think also making sure that people don't feel ostracized because of their clothes. Ostracized is a strong word. Maybe that they don't stand out so much because of their clothes. And so I think making sure that if people could spread the word to their employees that if they are struggling with this, this is an option. But also, I think in general, like clothes should be fun. Maybe we don't have to be so serious about things in the workplace.
I mean, here for everybody on that one, for sure. All right. I didn't tell you about this in advance, but normally in our podcasts, Hilary, we do something called the Fast and Furious Five. You're all right. We're just going to ask you 5 questions about downtown, whatever comes to the top of your mind. Is that good with you? If not, we could pass. I can just ask producer Madeline the questions.
That sounds great. I'm ready for them.
All right, you ready? All right. What's your favorite place to eat in downtown Madison?
The Tempest Oyster Bar. They have like a citrus sake cocktail, and they have like a short stack that I will get when I'm very sad and want something fruity and a pick me up.
That is a very specific answer, and I love every second of it. All right. When you need a space to take a break in downtown, where do you go?
I like to just sit on the square a lot. I think people watching really helps me relax. I think it's very calming, especially to see like the kinds of people who are walking around the square. I think it's a lot of fun. So I will just sit on a bench and just watch people walk by.
Beauty of downtown is you'll see it all. You'll literally see it all. What is your favorite downtown event?
I loved concerts on the square over the summer. I went to 5 out of 6. I missed the very first one, but I loved those. Just like being with friends, listening to good music, being able to support the arts in that way. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that.
Our favorite dessert downtown. And just so you know, there is a right or wrong answer in my own head with what it's going to be.
Guilty pleasure. I love Good News ice cream.
That's good. That is good. That's a very good answer. That was that
They have a
acceptable.
they have like
Acceptable.
a honey lavender blackberry ice
Yes.
cream, and
There's something with
I will get
fig
that.
too. Have you had the one with fig? The fig one is bizarrely refreshing. I don't think ice cream should be refreshing, but it is refreshing. It's good.
Yeah. I do need to try one of their like ice cream cocktails. I think they have a grasshopper or something, and I'm always looking at that and going, I want the lavender. But I'll try it one day. Maybe I'll switch it up.
All right, last question. Fast and Furious 5. What's your hidden gem in downtown Madison?
Hidden gem in downtown Madison. I love going to Lucille's. I think on Wednesday nights they have live jazz music. And so I will sit there at the end of the bar, looking out the door to the square with a drink, listening to the live jazz, and it cannot get better than that.
That's a good hidden gem, and I should know that considering they're a strong member of ours. The owner's a good friend of mine. So I apologize, Josh Berkson. So everyone go to Lucille for live jazz on Wednesdays. Hilary Pham with Equability, president and CEO and founder. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do for our entire community. What an amazing story you have. Go check out their website. Your website is equability.com, I think it is. I
Dot
didn't write it down.
co.
Yeah, .co. I was so close. I should have written it down. Check it out. Amazing work that Hilary is doing in our community right here in Madison. Thank you, Hilary. We really appreciate it and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thanks so much.